So I want to share with you some of the things that I've learned along the way. A couple of months ago, I challenged a group of high school students from New View Studio to join me in my research and try to capture surprise on camera. Now, I don't know if anyone's ever tried to do that, but it's about as easy as trying to capture a fly with chopsticks. The expression of surprise lasts for only about 1/25th of a second. But they were up for it, and this is what they came up with. So they had people move their hand in a continuous motion while watching a video. What these people didn't know was that there was a surprise in the video. This is one of my favorite reactions. All right, so let's see that again. This time, pay attention to her finger. See if you can watch it stop. Did you guys see that? That freeze, that moment, that 1/25th of a second freeze, this rare creature. So that freeze effect is the first thing that happens to us when we're surprised. This is my favorite facial expression of all time. I could look at this for hours. This is something that my colleagues and I lovingly refer to as the duh face. Here's another example. So the reason that surprise makes us look like this, which I think is just lovely, is that surprise hijacks all of our mental processes. Everything that we're doing and thinking, it stops it. It pulls our focus into one thing, and it directs us onto the thing that surprised us. So surprise literally stops us in our tracks, and it plugs us into the moment. And if you think about this day and age, when the insides of our brains look like this, that's no easy feat. This, by the way, is my actual browser. Something else happens when we're surprised. Our emotions intensify by as much as 400%. So that's the reason that when you get a really great gift that you weren't expecting, it's so much better than if you had picked out that same thing for yourself. It's also the reason I think we intuitively know this when, let's say that you want to delight someone with flowers. You don't call them up and say, hey, I'm going to send you flowers at 2:30 o'clock today. I want to show you some more people getting surprised, and even a dog. And I think you're laughing because you might have seen some of these already. This time, I want you to take a look at them with fresh eyes, with the new knowledge that you have. See if you can spot the duh face and the emotion intensification.
For both of you. Oh, great one! Yes! Shut up! Oh my God! See, she's crying. Gracie, I told you. I know. Gracie, remember Dad? Monday.
Crying just a little bit, okay? Me too, and I've seen that so many times. All right, so recap. So surprise stops us in our tracks. It plugs us into the moment. It intensifies our emotions. But so what? Why am I spending all this time training you guys to see surprise? For me, the reason I get excited about it is when you learn to notice yourself getting surprised, you actually get like a backstage pass into all the times that you're wrong. Because that's really what surprise is at the end of the day. It's an alert that tells you that you're wrong, that things didn't go the way you expected. And even if you don't want to admit it, your surprise admits it for you. It's like your brain's way of telling you, hey, this is something you don't know yet. Now, what you choose to do with that brain alert is what makes all the difference. So let's say that you see a barking cat, for example. So you have a few different choices. You can either dismiss it, pretend it didn't happen. What barking cat? I didn't see a barking cat. I don't know what you're talking about. You could try to explain it away. That's just a dog, a cat-looking dog. Or you can change your views. you can let the surprise in and you can learn. So what does that mean beyond barking cats? So what if we let ourselves learn every time we were surprised by deviations from our stereotypes, from our political stances, from our religious views, from prejudiced beliefs we hold that we don't even realize that we're carrying? This makes me think about, in my middle school, a very popular, widely held belief that everyone in our rival school was stuck up. This was like a fact. This was just something you didn't even question. So if we ever met someone from the rival school and we were surprised by how totally non-stuck up and friendly this person would be, we would just explain it away. We'd say, oh yeah, well, she's nice, but she's totally different from the rest of them. So without even realizing it, we were refusing to learn. We were refusing to grow. So as kids, we don't have this problem. Most of the learning that we do, and I'm not talking your age, I'm talking even before this, most of the learning we do happens through surprise. So we're constantly expanding and revising our beliefs based on the things that surprise us. So here's a little boy seeing bubbles for probably the first time in his life. And he is totally shocked because, I mean, imagine if you just started seeing stuff floating, right? That's a surprise. So I want you to look at this and see if you can look past the extreme cuteness of this moment and see what's happening here. So the surprise is making him pull in all this information from the world. That's like the very essence of learning, right? When we get older, though, we want to keep surprise out. And I'm talking old, I'm not talking old, I'm talking just a little bit older. We want to keep surprise out. So when we're in situations that are unfamiliar or uncertain, we want to avoid those. When we feel ourselves freeze and have that duh face, we want to hide it away because we feel like it might make us look kind of naive. And worst of all, we refuse to change our minds. So this surprise aversion actually started at a young age for me. That is me and my sister Kat. I'm the miserable looking one. Not a good photo day for me. So even when I was little, I pretended to know everything. You name it, I knew it. I hated being surprised because I hated feeling out of control, and I hated more than anything the feeling of being wrong. So I remember this conversation that I was having with my history teacher in the 3rd grade, and I was nodding very seriously as I was listening to him talk about the War of 1812. And I was trying really, really hard to look really educated and knowledgeable, and I had no idea what he was talking about. And because of that, because of that moment, I still know nothing about the War of 1812. Other than that, I think it probably happened in 1812. So why did I do that? Why did I pretend to know in school, in the one place in the world where you're actually supposed to not know, right? Because if you knew everything, why would you even bother going to school? Maybe it's because in school you get rewarded for knowing instead of for admitting that you don't know. Or maybe it's because for me when I was little, my life was pretty unpredictable. So my parents got a divorce, we moved around a lot, and I found myself feeling like an outsider a lot. Maybe there was something about pretending like I knew all this stuff that made me feel less vulnerable, but it didn't really work. I just ended up feeling intimidated because I couldn't admit that I didn't know, and I ended up feeling like even more of an outsider. And I kept on faking knowing stuff until a very embarrassing experience in high school, when my twinkly-eyed principal, Mr. Bruckner, came up to me while I was sitting with all my friends. He singled me out. You studying for your SATs? Yeah. Do you know what the word esoteric means? Yeah. What? What? What does it mean? You don't know what it means? Oh, I know what it means. I'm asking you. Me? You. Oh. I don't know. I said I had to say it. It didn't even sound like a word. It was definitely not a word that was in my vocabulary. So he smiled, and it was this warm but very amused smile, and I still feel my cheeks getting hot just reliving that moment. But I learned something. I learned the word esoteric, which actually, weirdly enough, ended up being on my SATs. I won't tell you what it means. Look it up. But I learned something even more important in that moment. I learned that I could stop feeling intimidated when I let myself say, I don't know. And I could start growing and connecting with others when I let myself say, I wonder. Wonder. It's one of these things that our brains do naturally when we're surprised, if we let them. So if you think about how things feel when you wonder, it's like the world feels like a different place and something inside you changes. And psychologists have actually investigated this. So there was a study where they showed people a bunch of different videos. And one group of people was told to watch those videos and say, I see, I understand, I see what's happening here. And another group of people watched the same exact videos, but they were told to say, I'm curious, I'm not sure what's happening, I wonder. So it turns out that the people in that wonder condition found the same exact videos significantly more interesting than the people who pretended that they knew what was going on. Wondering makes life more interesting, sometimes even fascinating. It makes that feeling that I hated of not knowing, it makes it delightful. It lets us connect with others. So how do we do that? How do we wonder more? How do we ask how? How do we ask why more? I think it begins with letting yourself be taken by surprise. So in those moments where you notice yourself, now that you guys are all trained in it, have that beautiful duh face, have that moment of freezing, the emotional intensification, don't throw that moment away. This is your brain telling you you're wrong, and that is so cool because it means that the world has something new to show you. Take that opportunity, use that as a chance to say, I don't know, but I wonder. For me, when I started, surprise, when I started doing this on a regular basis, I started seeing this lovely cycle start to develop. So the more I let myself feel surprised, the more I felt wonder. And the more time that I spent wondering, the more little surprises I started noticing in my life. So another habit that you can get into is whenever you have the choice, and you will have this choice all the time, of staying in your comfort zone or exploring territory that's unfamiliar, unpredictable, with surprises at every turn, take the surprises. Please take the surprises. Pick the people and the places that will make you stop and say, I don't know, I wonder. And that's really tough stuff. I know I'm talking about it like it's no big deal, but this is really, really tough. It means that you have to actively choose to be vulnerable. You have to choose to feel small instead of pretending that you're already big. You have to choose to be in the tension of the unknown instead of the cozy comfort of the known. And it's really scary. It's really, really, really scary. But think about the reward. I mean, we're talking about curiosity, passion, exploration, connecting with others, learning, growing, and possibly even inspiring others. I mean, what if somebody hears you say, I don't know, I wonder, and they start to wonder too? And if you think about what this would do for our world, if this were a norm, if this is just stuff that we did all the time, I mean, think about the conflict that we're all stuck in as a world. We're all just fighting for that comfort zone. We're fighting to pretend that we know. If you look at our newspapers from like 1960 to today, it's like the same exact thing. We're stuck. What would the world look like if we all just looked at each other, just made eye contact and said, you know what? I don't know, but I wonder. So I'm wondering if you guys would like to practice stepping outside your comfort zones with me for a moment. Are you up for it? Oh, nice. Okay, great. By the way, the people watching at home, this is you too. Just because you're sitting on a comfortable couch doesn't mean you get to stay in your comfort zone. Do you guys agree? Yeah. Get out of your comfort zone. Okay, this is how we're going to start. Anyone want to know what's in that box? Yes. Okay. And what do you think it is? I don't know. What?
I don't know.
And?
I wonder.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to let you guys wonder for a moment. And I'd love for you guys to tweet this. So hashtag surprise, hashtag TEDxTeen. Predict what's in the box. All right, you guys ready?
Yep.
I don't even know what's in the box. Okay. How many of you guys thought funky sunglasses? No? Okay, that's for you then. Okay, here's a good. Anyone thought silly glasses? No? All right, that's for you. Okay, well, this is kind of obvious. Pink maracas? No? Okay, that's for you. Oh, this one, I think I'm going to need 2 volunteers. Can I get Chelsea up here, please?
Oh, yes, I'm so excited. I was tweeting.
One more. Would you like to come up, please?
Oh, come on.
Come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh, perfect. All right, this one's actually very simple, so I need you guys.
Oh, this is going to be awesome.
You're going to hold this. You're going to hold this side.
But I'm trying to get closer to him, not further away.
Aww. Well, then you guys can pull, and then it'll just bring you back together really
Okay.
fast. Okay, how many of you guys thought free TEDxTeen t-shirts?
Oh.
All right.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
Oh,
so
this
you
is a
guys
lot of
stay
responsibility.
Right there, so
Okay.
not far away. So actually,
Okay.
you could even go a little. I've never done this before on a stage, so surprise. All right. Tell me when you. No, you guys stay.
Oh, no,
close
we don't.
together.
Okay.
You stay close together. Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
improvise.
It's okay. Okay. So you guys tell me when you think I've pulled far enough. Okay. So this is on you. So if this doesn't go well. Good. One more. Should we go this side?
Yeah, that was awesome.
You guys are naturals at this. This is great. Oop.
Oh,
Sorry.
the limbo.
It's a defining moment in your relationship.
Totally.
All right. Okay, you guys tell me when to stop. Stop? What? Thank you very much.
I definitely had that whole thing going on.
Duck face?
Totally.
If anyone got a picture of their duck faces,
I had that.
tweet that. Oh no, we're not done. No, we're not actually done. There's one more thing in here. This one is kind of weird. You're supposed to all stand up. Yeah. Okay, so I'm curious, how many of you thought that it was going to be a chicken leading us in a dance party? Anyone? Thank you, chickens. Thank you. Wait.